We are recording.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out our video here. This is super exciting. I want to give a big thank you for Warren for taking his time out of his evening to help us go through this application. I do believe this is going to help a lot of our businesses here in town. Please make sure you do fill this out. This is money that is a grant. It is free. You do not have to pay this back. So we really wanted to bring this to you as a chamber to show you how to receive some money to help you out in these hard times. Super excited for us to be able to present this to you guys. Remember, you have to have your applications completed by October 25th and drop them off here at the city building.
23rd.
Or the 23rd. My apologies. So anyway, we're going to turn this over to Warren. Warren, it's all yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. This is a wonderful opportunity for folks that want to put some effort into this, had some misfortune because of COVID, and maybe be an opportunity to get a helping hand upward to be able to go forward in the new economic situations that we are facing. This program is money that has been provided by the federal government to the state of Kansas, and the state of Kansas has made an allocation to Butler County. This is one of the programs that Butler County has under the program to deal with COVID-19. This is called the Butler County SPARKS Business Grant Program, and they have provided money to the 4 largest cities of Butler County, and then the other communities in the rural area also have a pot of money. So we will not be competing with other communities within this. We have been given an allocation as a city or community, which the Chamber of Commerce here is managing for the county, of about $15.50 per capita. So overall, we have about $62,104 to allocate for eligible businesses. Under this program, grants are available for up to $10,000. It's for businesses that have 50 or fewer employees as of March 1st, 2020. The applications are due, and we're accepting them on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce here because there's not an open office all the time. So we're accepting them here through October 23rd, 2020. You can drop them off, or you can put them at the counter, or you can put them in the night box at your convenience. If you don't have a computer or printer, we do have hard copies available here at the front desk. Just ask one of the clerks. They'll be happy to give you a application with the policies and the rules that go along with that. So what the process will be is I'm assisting the Chamber of Commerce of Rose Hill in helping people if they need help with the project, with the paperwork, with any rules or questions that they have, because they don't have staff. We're available to help you. The city will not be going over the applications for award. That'll be the responsibility of the Chamber of Commerce. Then they'll make those recommendations to Butler County. To be eligible for this program, you need to be a for-profit business with 50 employees or less as of March 1st. You have to be located in this program in the city limits of Rose Hill. If you're outside of Rose Hill and you have a zip code that may be Rose Hill, you cannot apply through this program. But you can apply through Butler County. David Alfaro, Community Development Office over there at the courthouse, will take your applications, assist you if you need to. If you have questions, we're happy to help you if we can. But you just would need to turn the application into the county and be considered within that funding program. You can be a brick and mortar, you can have a business here, a facility, or you can work out of your home. It is not a requirement that you have a separate business location. You would just need to have some sort of property located within the city limits of Rose Hill to be qualified for this. You must have been in business operations since January 1st of 2019. And we'll talk about why as this goes along. You must be registered to do business in the state of Kansas and have a tax ID number. This program is based upon loss of revenue. This is a very different program than others that have been operated. Most of the other programs have been operated on expenses. This one is only on loss of revenue for the periods that we'll talk about in the application. So you'll just need to show that you have less revenue for that period of time in 2020 than you had in 2019. This program, while there is effort that's going to be required of you to fill out an application, it is much easier than any of the other programs we've seen. This program also cannot be duplicated for other federal state programs that you've received. And there's only one program that this would duplicate on, which is based upon a loss of revenue. And that's if you received earlier this year funding from the Kansas Department of Commerce Small Business Working Capital Grant. So if you received money from that program, you're not going to be eligible for this program. Very few people probably did receive that funding, but it is one of the programs, and the only program we're aware of that would be a duplication of this program. The owner applicant cannot be in bankruptcy and cannot have filed for bankruptcy in the last 12 months. The owner applicant needs to be current on all property tax and related governmental fees, or have a payment plan in place with the county or the city or other entity as of April 30th, 2020. Self-employed individuals are available to apply, independent contractors, sole proprietors, S corporations. Really, this is open to almost anybody that can apply for this. All funds are going to be distributed by December 1st, and so the money's going to go out pretty quickly. If you're selected for the program, the maximum amount of an award will be $10,000, and the minimum will be $1,000. So you'll have to show a minimum of $1,000 loss during the period that we're going to be showing you to show that you're eligible for this program. So the decisions then will be made on the funding will be coming from the Rose Hill Chamber of Commerce. What you're going to have to provide is a completed W-9 form. I believe the chamber, Luana, you have those forms?
I do at the rec center.
So you can go to the rec center if you need a W-9.
Yep.
and complete that and turn that into with the eventual final application, which we need. Then we're going to need revenues from March through August for 2019, as well as a statement of revenues from March through August of 2020. This is going to be the most difficult part of this application. For most people, you may have a profit and loss statement, which will show those revenue differences between those two periods of times, and that's going to be the easiest way to probably handle that. But not every business is going to do a profit and loss. So what the county has come up with is an alternative way for almost anybody to be able to fill that is if you don't have that profit and loss, use your 2019 and your 2020 bank statements for those periods of time to fill out the application template to show your losses. And then you would just need to submit your bank statement showing revenues. We don't care about expenses or how you spent the money, only how the revenues change from 2019 to 2020. So you can pick up your bank statements for that period from March through August, provide them with that. This information is going to be tried to be held as secretive as possible. It's not subject to an open record. It's not subject to disclosure, but it will go along potentially with the county, and the county is fiduciarily responsible to the state, and the state is responsible to the federal government for these funds. But so that we have to have some form of paperwork to show that there has been a revenue loss. There has to be that background information. So that's kind of the overall program that we have as a county. And now we're going to talk about the application process. And we have a form that is available to you. And we have some music to go along with completing your application. It makes it a little more enjoyable for you.
Did you switch the screen to this?
Pardon?
Did you switch the screen?
Yeah, it should be. Let me see for sure. We will check. let's go down and let's look, let's see, we're gonna have that, make sure we're gonna open that. And we're gonna make sure that we have this project right here. I think you're correct, because I didn't have a little box appear over there. Thank you. We almost had we almost had a technical difficulty here. This is it. There we go. Did we not still have that screen?
Is there a share button up in the corner?
I do think there's
So-
one more click you're gonna need to do to show that window. So you need to choose down at the bottom, either desktop or window.
Here we go.
I would just.
There we go. There we go. There we are. Thank you. Thanks for standing by for a minute. If that's the worst we get, we'll be lucky.
Hey Warren, on that W-9, they can go online and just download a W-9 from the
Absolutely.
from
They're
the
easy to
state
find.
government.
The state, yeah, you can get one from the state. If you don't have that ability or to have a printer, you can go and the rec center will be able to help you with that also. But that is available through the state of Kansas or the federal government, any of those tax locations. You can for no cost print down a W-9 and turn that in. So this is the application. I filled a little bit out of it as we started. I filled a little bit out that's the easy part that most people will not have much issue with. And I've highlighted that. So the application is going to ask the date you're going to complete that or turn that in. It's going to ask your business here, and where this is just George's Diner. You don't have to do this online. Write it out just in pen. We're fine with that. For some people, it's going to be a lot easier to do because this form is not always the most friendly. But you can do it however you choose to do it. We don't care which way it is. It's going to ask your type of business, and here we've just shown it's a restaurant. It could be an insurance. It could be auto repair. It could be anything that you are.
Retail.
You just put whatever your business is, and that's your type. The primary contact person here, you're just going to put whoever they're going to talk to, or we're going to ask for additional information to make sure you have a completed application. So it may be the owner, it might be the manager, it could be someone else in your organization that has done all this paperwork that's going to know the most that they have about it. We're going to ask for a mobile phone so we can kind of get where you're, if we can contact you. An email address, if you have that, that is by far the easiest and best way to do this process, although we do not want the application returned to us that way. There's too many risks for that, and we don't want that information to be put on a system, and we also don't want to take responsibility if something happens that we didn't get that. So we're going to have to make copies of it anyway. So the best way to do it is just fill out this by hand. Or on the system and print it out and bring it down to us here at City Hall so we can review it for completeness and then turn it over to the chamber. The business phone number, that's usually going to be wherever that contact location is. We're going to ask the location of the homeowner or the home address of the owner of the business. This case, we're in Rose Hill. We've chosen that. You do not have to be a resident of Rose Hill to apply for this program. Your business has to be in Rose Hill. So you do have that ability to do that however you choose, but don't be scared if you're not living in Rose Hill as long as the business is here. Number of owners could be 1, it could be 2, 3, whatever that number is, you would just put that number here. The business address, again, it's going to have to be Rose Hill, Kansas. Even though the zip code may be Rose Hill, if you're outside the city limits, you're going to need to put that application into the county. And then we're going to need your tax ID number, and that's probably going to correspond with your W-9 also. So some of this I have not completed yet, but we're going to look at it here and fill this out as we go. And under this, It could be a sole proprietorship. It could be a S corp. It could be an LLC. It could be sole owner. So we're just going to put sole proprietor, and we're just going to spell it correctly and leave it at that. So we've got that here, and so you're going to need to fill that out there. And then when the date is established, it needs to be before January 1st of 2019. So we're going to put 1/1 of 2015. So that we've completed this here, and so that is there. Is the business applying part of a related operating or holding company? For most, it's going to be no. So it could be yes, it doesn't matter. But here we're just going to say no. And if you're turning it in by PIN, you just circle no. If you put an X after it if you're doing it online. The same over here is have you had revenue replacement funds from the federal government program? The only one that has revenue replacement programs is that Kansas Department of Commerce one that they got federal money for. So 90% of you are going to put no on this. And then you're going to look at funding based upon the revenue lost. And this is going to go back to a template, which is going to be on here that we're going to do as we go through here. And that number is going to reflect up to this number that you're going to put on that line. And the reason why is this number is going to be anywhere from $1,000, or it could be up to $10,000. It has to be a minimum of $1,000 that you have lost during that period of time in revenue, but it can be no more than you have lost in revenue. So if you lost $8,000, you could ask for up to $8,000. If you lost $20,000 in revenue, you can only ask for $10,000. So in this case, we're going to assume this company lost revenue of $10,000 during that period of time. So we just put $10,000 here, but it's going to need to correspond with the template that we have below. So did you get any other funding from any other source? And so we're going to just show that, you know, this organization, they got some SBA money from the Payroll Protection Plan program. And so we would put, you would put PPP there. And so that's if you got fund, or it could be economic disaster loan money from SBA. There could be some other program. The city program, do you have a question?
Yeah, do they care about how much?
Don't care how much.
Just which program?
All they're asking for is what you got money for, and to make sure it's not a duplication program. So then we have, go ahead.
So if they applied for an SBA loan at the 3%, they would have to put that in here.
They would put that in there as an SBA loan. Again, we're not asking in this application. This is a county-wide application. It was developed by the county. I use the word we, but this is the form that we're using. Don't care how much, and don't care if it is, and it's also if it's pending, if you have an application that is pending. So the only program here that the city had was the CDBG program. And so here, if you got CDBG funds, you would list that you got that fund there. We don't have, the chamber hasn't had any money previously. The Main Street program, we don't have. If you got somebody from a community foundation or an e-community or bank financing, if you got a bank loan that was outside a federal program to get you through that, you would just hit here, and put something there. And so most of you won't have this, but there will be a number that will. There was a surprising number of applications under the CDBG program that we had that also had other federal program funding. Because as most of the businesses will tell you, not one of those programs is enough to make up for their losses. And so sometimes you have to kind of cobble through a number of resources to get back to where you feel like you can survive and go forward on. So that's not anything negative here for that. It's just really an opportunity to make sure that you didn't get duplication of funds for the same program. And the only duplication on this one is the state program for working capital, because that was based on revenue. So here we're going to say, you got, how many jobs are you keeping? How many jobs have you had today? So you're going to have, I have 2 and 1 part-time. And so you would put those in however you feel like you're going to have. It could be 1. It needs to be 1. And that could be a sole owner, and that would count as 1 full-time job.
So it's not the number of employees, it's the number of actual jobs.
Actual jobs that you have. And so, you know, a lot of part-time jobs, you know, it could be, you could have 10 part-timers. That in ends makes up potentially the equivalent of 5 full-time. But that'll be part of that process that you look at as how the part-time equates into full-time equivalency in the end. Will full or part-time result in these increase of funds? Could be yes, it could be no. You just decide which one that is for you. You circle it if you're doing it by pen. If you're doing it by on the computer, just put an X on behind or on the answer that you're going to give. It could be unknown. You don't know for sure whether you will be able to retain it. And as far as we know, this program does not, the program does not hold you responsible for not creating those jobs or retaining them if you didn't retain them and you said you were. Do you have a tax liability in arrears with the Kansas Department of Revenue, IRS, or Butler County, or have filed bankruptcy? The answer on this one needs to be no. If you apply and the answer is yes, you are not going to get funded. And so that is one of the stipulations you're going to have on that. So if you're going to apply for these funds and you can make those tax liabilities up before that award, then you could be okay.
And asked me, I'm on a payment plan with the IRS for my back taxes. Mm-hmm. So if they're on a payment plan,
they still can't. They're still
do
in the
they qualify or do they not
That's what I
qualify?
thought.
Now, for the county and the city program for fees, you just had to have a plan in place before April 30th of 2020.
Okay.
But if you're an IRS, but if you're IRS, or with the Kansas, State Department of Revenue, they're probably going to look differently on that because they're not really interested in funding people that owe them money. Because this money is coming from the federal government through the state government. And so they have been pretty clear on that. The local money, if you've entered into a tax agreement or fee agreement, as of April 30th, that will not disqualify you for this program. So the locals are much less stringent on this one than the federal or state government. So that's one of those things that state potentially can look at as part of this process. We don't know if you're in arrears with the state or federal, but they will. And you're going to have a W-9 that's going to maybe be flagged as part of that. Mm-hmm. And if you get money and you're found ineligible, you're responsible for paying it back. So I would encourage people to be very honest and open on that because you don't want that liability later of having to pay that money back. So they're going to ask a question like here to give a description of what your business is. And I don't know if it matters to most of us here how to describe it because Rosehill is a fairly small community and we know almost everybody and what they do. These applications will go to the county and potentially to the state. So you can put whatever you feel like you can describe your business as being. We run a restaurant and provide food and beverages, on carry out and carry out services for food. You know, it could be whatever you do. If you're an auto mechanic, you're an auto mechanic and you provide vehicle services, mechanical services. If you're a machine shop, you provide mechanical services to certain products that maybe you sell to the aircraft industry. So whatever you think, however somebody asks you, what do you do? Put that answer down. And because you know your business and you can tell us what that business is. There isn't a cut and dried business there. So under this, it's going to say, what is a short description of how COVID-19 is negatively impacting your business? Weekly sales, average drop for restaurants, occupancy rate for hotels, those type of things. You know, and this is an answer that only you know as the business. And there again is not a magic answer to this. I think most people assume most businesses went down in sales during that period of time. There's a handful that went up just because of the services they provide are different or the times required those. So as a restaurant, you know, we had to shut down our dining services, our dining room for 3 weeks. And then you can talk about how carry out couldn't casinos wasn't as strong as the other business. You know, just tell us what that is, and it doesn't have to be very long. You know, if you're in an auto body or mechanic business, it might be people drove less and they had less needs for mechanical service or tires or body work because there was less accidents. Or if I'm a dentist, I couldn't see patients for 3 or 4 weeks. If I was in the insurance business, my company made us close to the public and we couldn't write some new coverages because people couldn't come in. I mean, you know your business and you can describe what you feel about that. And quite frankly, you're going to have the passion of how you were affected. It could have been a federal or state mandate. You may be a barber or beautician or a salon of some kind. You physically couldn't be open. Your dining services were cut in half for the capacity. There's a lot of things that affected your business that you can tell us about. Describe how you're going to use the grant fund to enhance the ability of your business to survive. And this is basically, we need the revenue replacement funds to pay for our staff and inventory. Well, we could just say that. It's going to be whatever you're going to use. And, you know, you can probably describe that in 2 or 3 sentences. It doesn't have to be real long. You know, for some of you, it's just going to give you an influx of cash because you used everything up. You know your business and we don't, and you can tell us that. What types of working capital will funds be used for? Utilities, payroll, inventory. Working capital is going to be your payroll, your utilities. It could be rent, it could be inventory, it can be insurance. There's a lot of things that go into that that's just not capital based. It's not going to be a bricks and mortar facility or something like that. It's going to be how will you use this money to do? And most of them are going to say, I need inventory, I need staff pay, I need to pay my utilities, and I need to pay my insurance. Don't they, Gerald?
Yes, they do.
And so that's, you know, it's not very exciting, but that's what most of the people are going to need the money for. And that's all you need to do is put what you're going to do there. And you don't need to say how much and where it's going. So then you're going to sign here. And so even if you do it on the computer, you're going to need to have some sort of signature on here and then the date. So whatever date you're going to turn that, whatever date you sign that. So we're going to say you did it today. And that's here. This here, this is going to be for the chamber to sign and all here. So do not complete this section. This will be completed by the chamber. Okay, it's 6:35. In 30 minutes, we've completed this application.
And
Now,
potentially to get thousands of dollars.
You know, that's, I gave the same speech I did on the CDBG. You may spend on that, which was much more complicated, 5-6 hours, and those folks got $8,000. I don't know too many other opportunities you'll have where somebody can make $1,500 an hour. This program will probably have more applicants and a little less money. So I wouldn't say the money is going to be as great, but gosh, you know, if you could get a, you know,
Anything.
$1,000,
Anything is great.
$2,000 for the amount of time you will do, you will never make this money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the harder part. This is the revenue cost calculation. It's going to be easy to fill this out, but it's going to be a little effort on your part as the applicant to get the information.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to get this information from your profit and loss statements or from your bank statements that you're going to have to provide a copy of. So we're going to say last year in March, you made $10,000 in revenue. We don't care how much profit you made or didn't make. All we're looking at is revenue. So you don't need to provide us any information on how the money was spent, how much money was spent, or any of that, or whether you did make a profit or loss. We're only looking at revenue. So, you know, March was this year, before the COVID hit, you're having a good year and you still made $1,000 more in revenue this year than last. That's a 10% increase. April wasn't as good. Last year you had a 15,000. This year you had 5,000. So you lost in revenue $10,000. Again, this application does not care whether you made money or lost money. All we're looking at is your revenue. So in this case, you lost 66.7% for the month. The county is asking this on a monthly basis, but in the end, your application will be looked at as a whole. So it will not matter from the application standpoint whether you made money or made more money or lost more money in a specific month. It's going to only care in the end how that equated into it for this 6-month period. June, we're just going to say that you had a little less loss. This is the kind of the boring part, but this will be about as long as it'll take you once you have that information.
It took me longer to do this part than it did to fill out both of the applications.
Yeah, and that'll be the time-consuming part. If you have somebody else fill out that information for you,
Pulling the numbers.
that does bookkeeping for you, you may have to ask them for that information if you don't have it readily available, or you're not sure you fully understand what you have. If you do it yourself, you know, you may understand it well, or you may not. If you don't keep books very well, you've got to have bank statements. And from that standpoint, all we're going to need to see is your deposits for those periods of time, and whether they basically have to go down for this period of time. So This is just an example. It doesn't matter on a monthly basis whether you went up or down. It just matters then on this bottom. So for this case, they had $80,000 the year before for those 6 months. And then this year they had $65,500. So that is a loss of $14,500 for that 6 months. Had an 18.1% loss. The number then that matters for this application is going to be this number right here. They're showing a loss of $14,500. So where this goes then is up here. This needs to correlate with this. But you got to remember, all you can ask for is $10,000. For this application, it did not matter that you lost more revenue than that. All you can ask for is $10,000.
Okay.
If you had lost down below $4,000, all you could ask for is $4,000. So it's going to be whichever you lost or 10,000, whichever is the greater number under $10,000. So that's the max that you're going to get out of this program. For this application, we're done.
That's it, huh?
You are done. So we have spent 40 minutes in this room going over this application. Now you're going to spend time gathering the data to fill out that template and providing that to us for the review, then to give to the chamber. We just review it to make sure it's complete, make sure I've already contacted people that have asked me and they say, is this? No, you've got to provide this information before it can go forward. And so we send it back to them. So we urge you to ask those questions beforehand and to even submit an application, even if you're not ready yet, to see this is what you need to do yet. So this one's about as easy as a program that you can get. You do have to you have to make a commitment to do the paperwork. You have to make a commitment to provide your financial reports on revenues for that 6-month period during this last year and this year.
We have received some questions through the website that come out in emails to members of the chamber board, and we have answered those questions. So if people have specific questions and they want to just do it that way, we'll answer the questions that way too. So there's lots of places they can get answers.
And I think, don't be afraid of it. I think that's the key. This is not an overwhelming process. It may appear to be, and it may appear, well, we work with these all the time. There are a lot of people who put together these applications that have done it on their own, and they just have a little confidence that they can do it, and they're not afraid to do the work. In return, they have a real opportunity to be rewarded. And this is one of those times where some effort will most likely result in a reward greater than the time you put in.
Have you received applications?
We have so far, go ahead.
Still recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have received 3 applications.
3.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have received 3 applications. And I know one I had to send back for some further information that they've provided. And that's nothing criticism. There's no anything to it. It's just, this is not a program that most people are used to working with. For us, this is a one-time deal.
Right.
We'll probably never have another one like it. So we learn as we go through also. So don't hesitate to ask somebody, ask the chamber board members, give me a call, send me an email here at the city, visit with me, or call me and I'll come to your office and we'll talk about it. Our goal is to make the business environment the best it can be in this community. And with these 2 programs here, we'll be able to put over $135,000 within this community from outside dollars.
That's awesome.
And so this is a real opportunity for people that if you have the need, don't let this go
slip
by.
away. Yeah.
Well, and it sounds pretty simple, because if somebody doesn't have a profit and loss statement, all they have to do is go into their online banking, for each month and just click on what their deposits were, that's going to calculate it up for themselves. So now all they have to do is compare one year to the next.
Yeah.
This is the simplest program, and you can make it as simple as you want without making it super complicated. And that's the nice thing that this program is allowing, is that simplicity. So I think it's absolutely fantastic.
And, you know, I think the expectation is from the county is once the chamber turns the awards into them, within 30 days, people will get money.
That's wonderful.
And that's a super quick turnaround when you look at other programs that
Oh,
have been
yeah.
out there.
For sure.
Yeah. And so there's just a lot of pluses to this. Like everything, we wish there was a lot more money and we had more applicants. But we have what we have, and it's a good number. And it can help folks if they're interested in it. And if you're not, that's and if you don't need it, God bless you. That's great for you.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And so it's there if you have a demonstrated revenue loss.
And we urge you, do not be scared, because if it's not right, we're going to help you get it right.
Reach out to the chamber board or people in the chamber, because we're here to help, and we've been kind of working with Warren to understand the grant program so we can help to answer questions, and so reach out.
You want to give the phone number for if somebody wants to call you and
I do actually, if you want to call the rec center, I'm there until 5 o'clock, or someone is from 7:30 in the morning until 5 o'clock, and that's at 316-776-9880. And ask for Lavina or talk to whoever's there, and they can at least direct you or get you a call back.
or you're more than welcome to call me, Warren Porter, at the City of Rose Hill at 316-776-2712. Leave a message. If I'm not there, I'll get back with you. My email's on our website. You can send me that anytime. Again, I won't be making any decisions on awards, but I'm here to help you get an application together if you're interested in that, and making sure it's complete to send forward to the chamber. So
Yeah.
I am just your resource as an applicant.
And if they want, they can also call my office, Gerald Amato, 316-776-8920. You will more than likely need to leave me a message, and I will either call you back or direct you to somebody that will call you back.
Excellent.
Applications are due next Friday, the 23rd by 5 p.m.
Coming quick, get them done.
Thank you.
So
Thank
this program is going to be out there on the chamber website. If you were watching it, you have found it. And so with that, unless somebody else has some question in the room, I think we're finished. And if you have a question from this, please contact somebody. Don't just let it go by the wayside.
Thank you, Warren. We really appreciate your time and taking the extra time that you don't have to do this. So just to let everybody know, Warren is definitely an asset to our city. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's been a pleasure to help serve anybody that we can serve on this. And just let us know if we can help. With that, we're going to conclude for the evening.
Good night.